You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include death of loved ones, grief, romance, flirting, complex relationships, and blood. Arc 3, Episode 4, The Road You've Survived, from Praying Beside the Teeth That Killed Me by Connie Chong. Lumièra. The grove is exactly as you remember it. Exactly as you need it right now. Quiet, natural, peaceful. Pale moonlight streaks through the canopy, painting your harried features pale. But with every step you take over soft soil, you feel the serenity of this place settle against your bones. Even the smell of the grove is calming. Damp earth, starlit greenery, and soon enough, the gentle roaring of the waterfall is within earshot. But something's wrong, Lumièra. You're a healer, so you can recognize the smell of blood, even from this far away.
I think Lumièra was missed of just taking it all in for a second. I think after a few moments, she was just dropped to her knees in the sand and sat there before that tinge of copper wafts across her senses, and she perks up like a dog that just heard a treat bag open.
Lumièra, you're not quite at the pond itself when you get this smell. You're on your way to where the waterfall is, and it gets stronger and stronger, yes indeed, as the earth transitions to sand underneath your feet. And then you part a set of swaying fronds to reveal that blessed pool. And that's when you realize you're not alone. Bathing in that pool, her muscular back towards you, clothing and weaponry discarded across the shore, is Artemis.
Don't worry. It's not mine. Or the hitchhikers. And there's a pivot. The back flexes. Movement. Water. Pulling. The sound of it dribbling down. As the patron saint, naked in the pool, turns slightly over one shoulder at the only possible person who could be here. Who could be listening. Who could join her here. Artemis looks at you.
I've missed you so much.
Hello, brave girl. Are you in pain? And when Artemis asks, there's a heaviness under their eyes. The gold of it is almost weeping out from the pupils. And you don't really know if saints sleep, but she looks tired. And there is armor, real armor you've never seen them clad in at the Syndicate, scattered all over, like they tore it off their body, like a monster tore it off their body, and it is streaked with mud, and it is streaked with blood. And so is their face, just a little corner underneath, across their cheek. But they ask you first. Probably because they know. Are you in pain?
It's nothing I can't handle. And she says that so paper thin. Like she's trying her hardest to keep her front up.
You always try to lie to me, and I never really know why. This place exists because we're in pain, Lumièra. Whether we know it or not. Come in. And the saint turns around, inviting you into the water as they did months ago now.
Lumièra strips down without a word, but I think with each layer that she takes off, it's like she gets more tired. It's almost like with every layer she gets heavier and heavier and heavier until she's down to nothing, and it is just... She keeps rubbing in the middle of her chest where her birthmark is, and she just crawls in, doesn't meet your eyes. And she sits there for a minute and just really lightly under her breath, you can just barely make it out over the waterfall, says, "It won't stop hurting. It's supposed to be a cap. It burns. It burns, Artemis."
Soak it in the water. And Artemis instructs you, as though she knows the feeling that you're talking about intimately, exactly. This is the only place we don't have to carry it. And being in the water with Artemis is strange, because at once they feel so far removed and so far different from everything you know, but also so revealed, exactly the person that you want them to be all the time. The person that you know is there under layers and layers and layers of who knows what, really. It makes them more real, more flesh, which is strange, but intimate too. And those layers peel away, peel away, peel away. They thumb the bridge of their nose. I'm sorry, Lumièra. I should have tried to dissuade you. I think. I just thought that... And when she cuts herself off, turning whatever jagged words live inside of their mouth, smoothing those hard edges down like a soft river stone, she doesn't seem bothered by the bloody work of it, tempering her emotions. It's just a piece of the puzzle. And then they say, looking up to meet your gaze. It wasn't always forbidden. I thought that you might have been able to revive something that has been dead for a long, long time. And that's my fault. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. She was right. It is my choice. My choice to go against her will. My choice to unweave her tapestry.
Of course.
I just want to be a normal agent.
What is a normal agent, Lumièra? Can I tell you something about Sing? There was nothing about her that was normal. When we are chosen by fate, our strands in that tapestry of the journey, they change. Do you know why patron saints don't venture outside of the Syndicate into the journey ourselves? Why we send all of you in our stead?
I figured it was just you were too important.
No, Lumièra, it is all of you that are too important. No. And they gesture back to that armor, and you catch sight of something that perhaps when you were doffing your own armor wasn't so easy to pick out amongst the branches and ferns of the grove. It's a bow. It's a bone longbow, like two antlers pointed together, curving upward out nearly as tall as Artemis is. It's cast aside on the ground, among the dirt, among the moss. Artemis looks at it, wipes some of the mud and blood from off of their face. The journey tries to eat us, Lumièra. When fate pulled us, the patron saints, from our pasts, she made us into her saints. She cut us from the futures that belonged in the fabric of everything itself. The weaving strands of fate and of magic, the journey itself. She imbued us with the elements of existence itself, the pieces of the domains that make up this reality as we know it. Hero, monster, mortal. So when we return to that place that made us, the tapestry knows that it's missing threads. It remembers what it was like when we were a part of it, and it tries to weave us back together. Often by force. Like I said, not my blood. And it often uses its teeth.
So what was the point of sending you? If you're getting put in danger when you leave the halls, then if that's what we're here for, why you?
Because I wasn't going to let anyone else on my team get hurt. Because that is what was asked of me. This is the burden that we all carry, Lumièra. This is the change that comes over us.
She just kind of surrenders to that. Her gaze falls from your eyes down to the water. She just sinks further in, up to her neck now.
Our roles are never certain. And they are never easy. You remember what I've taught you. You'll find the way.
I'm glad you're back.
tiny little smile. Hidden little thing. That's my girl. But you don't need the sad poetics of an old woman. You need a warm soak and sleep. And I think I'm late to a party. Are you coming back? Are you staying?
There's too much history in that room right now.
History. You've been alive, what, 20 some odd years? Just wait till you get to be my age. And Artemis, feeling humorous somehow, almost enlivened by that little excursion, lifts themselves up out of the water. You see it dripping in rivulets down heavy layers and reams of fat and muscle. I'm proud of you, Lumièra.
And Lumièra perks up at that. Like those were the exact words that she needed to hear in that exact moment. Thank you, sir.
They pull themselves up. And Artemis heads out to ring a doorbell.
Lumièra submerges.
Lumièra, as you vanish under the surface of the water, we plunge down with you into this warm, welcoming abyss. A darkness that is not terrifying, but comforting. And we fade up away from blackness. We see Artemis at Naeem Zaran's door. How do you knock and or enter, Artemis?
Okay, you and I both know that Naeem has a very, very nice, doorbell, so they definitely learned that.
Okay, yes, definitely. Ornate, and the button itself is an actual pearl. So you press your finger against it, and a beautiful chime rings out inside. There's a couple of noises coming from within, but it definitely feels less populated than last we were here. And then the door swings open, and it's Naeem themselves that gets the door. Blinks up at you in surprise, Artemis. Zaran was not expecting you to attend. Patron saint, a hand of fate. And Naeem kind of bows politely in your direction.
Agent Zaran, please don't do that.
Yes, well, of course. And then it restrains the impulse to bow again. But literally holds himself from doing it. Come on in.
Artemis ducks into the door frame, comes in, and she seems dressed for the occasion, which would be alarming if it wasn't so particularly endearing, perhaps, distressingly so. They're wearing this kind of almost sheer white button-up tied with this beautiful yellow rope thread that's unbuttoned a little bit of ways with their bronze bracers and neck piece as well. Handsome trousers, dressed down, no sash. The severe expression on their face even seems slightly less severe than normal. And they look around, I think, the emptying party. Okay. Seems I missed most of the events, huh, Agent Zaran?
Yes, but of course you were busy out on Fate's orders herself. Well, the anniversary boy is right over there. Xainan, look who showed up.
I think Xainan was completely enraptured in a conversation with previous teammates from lifetimes ago, it seems like, to him. And he is holding a nice glass of whiskey and smiling and laughing and didn't notice the room get quiet until Naeem gets his attention. And he looks up and immediately stands rail straight. Artemis. And he puts down the glass and straightens himself up like he's about to enter a meeting. You're here.
Agent Esh,
I'm grateful.
congratulations.
Thank you.
10 years is a long
You're,
time.
Yeah. And Xainan is looking Artemis over every inch, not thinking about the party very suddenly, looking for signs of struggle or any... He's back on mission. He's looking for every detail of where Artemis has been.
The hunting dog hunts and finds a few clues, probably. There is still that heaviness around the corner of their eyes, and their skin almost seems glistening, like they were just bathing, perhaps. And like I mentioned, there are a few of those buttons undone on the front of their shirt, and I think there's a recent memory that kind of tugs at you. Shouldn't there be an exit wound there? But there's not.
Huh. And Xainan runs his hand over his face, just kind of thinking, trying to go back to the more easy demeanor of the party, and passes his hand over changed marking. He stopped after leaving TNR, wearing the markings that he had been wearing. The ones that were very similar to the ones he had worn for almost the entire time that he was here. And his fingers pass over a thick line, still for Cassidy, and the second one for the lost member of Nova. The fourth one that should be here. Pushed a little further back. Not forgotten, but not central on his face, that is staring up at Artemis, slowly cracking a smile. I'm glad you're here.
Me too. Wouldn't miss it. Besides, it's been me that you've been working for these last 10 years.
And I do have you to thank for me being here, so it's truly an honor.
And I think Artemis is like doing a slow kind of walk around the room and glances sideways at whatever corner Seir has shoved themselves into. Gives a terse little Agent Seir.
Seir sees Artemis enter, and it is like the heavens have opened and an angel has descended. Savior incarnate, salvation appearing right before his eyes. He's by the charcuterie board again. I think there was a moment where his heart sunk back into grief for a moment, thinking about how excited she would be to be here. Parties were always her thing. And I think as soon as you greet him, the boy returns. It's been a while since you've seen him. The young, bright-eyed boy lights up, drops his punch glass, and just yells out, "Artemis!" excitedly. Realizes he's dropped the punch glass, and it goes, "Whoa!" and grabs it with his tail.
Good reflexes. Well done, Agent.
Hand, sir. Picks it off from his tail, and we hear the jingles of the bangles on his tail like tuck behind him. You're back. Welcome back. How'd it go?
We'll discuss it later.
Oh,
For
of course.
now, I need to give you this, lest Wu Yin stab me in the heart. And from this kind of robe at their hip, Artemis pulls out a card. A little handmade card. Very clearly, it says congratulations in big, bold font on the front. It's very clearly made by Wu Yin. Hands it over to you.
Right?
Xainan, the front of it has a birthday cake for some reason. Like a graphic, almost like clip art, with like 10 written
Someday,
in like Sharpie on the cake.
Ta will understand what anniversaries versus birthdays are. and he like takes the whole thing in, and you can see the smile kind of going back, and he hasn't been frowning basically since they came back inside, but now it's like ear to ear as he opens the card.
A little ditty plays as some magical cue triggers, and a little puff of confetti comes up and into your face. And a happy birthday song plays as you see written in Wuyin's now very familiar handwriting, because you flashed to like a note in the margin from Passions of the Goddess Mind and you flash back here, and Han Wuyin wrote, "Congratulations, Xainan Esh! I'm so proud of you. Happy 10 years, big guy. Love, Wuyin." And it dominates both spreads of the card, with a tiny place where Artemis has written something and a even smaller place where Lucy has written something. Lucy in that curling script just says, "Good job." And then a dash L.
Artemis also has written just "well done" dash A. I think he has the spirit at the very least.
It's wonderful, and very few can say that they have a birthiversary card given to them by the hands of fate. And it isn't until Xainan says that he can taste the dust on his tongue. Because looking at Artemis, he's slowly remembering what the other anniversary is that this represents. The day that he came to Trans was the day that he left Kaseki for the last time. And looking at Artemis, very suddenly he remembers that hand reaching down to him in the dust.
You think maybe she changed clothes just so that she wouldn't look exactly the same as she did that day? Because nothing else has changed but her clothes. And they see it. Always they can see it. And I think somehow the rest of the party fades a little, and the moment becomes sheltered and quiet. So, do you think you made the right choice?
There wasn't a difference. Written by fate, right?
Congratulations on 10 years, Agent Ash. I'll see you in my office soon. Just have a feeling about this one. And then Artemis drifts away, drifts off, and heads off to talk with the other members of the Wild Hunt, greeting her team fondly.
That choice resonates inside you, Xainan. It tastes like dust. Ash? No, dust. It's bitter. It will always be bitter until the end of time itself. But there's something about the fact that you're standing here in a room full of people who love you, and not in a world that has left you behind, that makes the bitterness a little bit easier to hold. And as the sounds of the party die down and the hour grows late, we push out to the balcony, up toward the sky, where we see that painting of starlit eventide. And we hold on one star in particular that seems just a little bit pinker than the other ones around it. We pull to black. 4 months, 1 week, 2 days, 9 hours, and 13 minutes after the Chosen One dies, Strike Team Nova receives their next Mayday mission. Your oracle pings, and you, in your disparate locations, heed the call. And now we find the three of you in Artemis's office. The working place of the patron saint of mortals is as it always is, stately, pragmatic, and smelling strongly of the deep wood. Artemis themself sits behind the desk as if they'd never left the Syndicate at Fate's behest to clean up your mess in the first place. There are no solo asides this time, no private meetings before the big briefing, which means if you're late, everyone here knows it. So who arrives first in Artemis's office?
Probably Xainan.
Yeah.
Eager, again, just that exact same, like he had a uniform, even though it's not really a uniform. He's the only one that dresses this way. But trim black shirt, jacket, deep, heavy shawl, and of course, a familiar black flat-brimmed hat.
Yes, the return of the hat! Yes, Xainan, you're the first to stride right on through and take your seat across the desk from Artemis. You see 2 empty seats next to you. So there's 3 in a row. Which one are you choosing? This is very important to me. What's the marching order of your seat?
Given the recent events and the things that Xainan has observed among the other members of Strike Team Nova, he would feel bad occupying a space that would keep them from each other. And so he picks the seat closest to Artemis's desk.
Okay, let's say the far left seat, leaving the middle and the right one open. There's a beat before the next person comes in that's just you and Artemis.
Well, I'm not really sure what I expected. You're muted.
I think you're muted, Ty.
You're muted, my love.
I'm muted!
You're in captions now, though.
It's nice to have a mission.
It is. And if those 2 don't get here in the next 5 minutes, I'm sending all of you back to the archives. Good. Agent Seir?
Sir. And Seir is dressed in his trans uniform. It's the outfit he wears living in this space. But there's a glisten across his brow. He has definitely come here straight from the training halls. And as soon as he reports in, notices that Xainan has swapped places, and there's a moment where his eyebrows quirk. That's not where he usually sits. Turns back. The latest file is within your oracle, sir. Hey, Xainan. And he sits on the other side of you. So you're the most left. He's taking the most right position. So that's where he usually sits.
And Seir, good to see you back. Sorry, I said Hand Seir. Agent Seir, good to see you back.
Thank you, sir. It's good to see you.
4, 3.
Clack, 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 clack. Door swings open, and Lumièra is in the door. She is, best way to say is fixing herself. She looks a little muscled, like she was just coming from somewhere.
It was 2 seconds off. Strike Team Nova, thank you for your prompt arrival. I hope I wasn't keeping you from any important business. And Artemis takes a look at Lumièra.
And my apologies.
Take a seat.
And Lumièra will sit right next to Seir. And as she sits down, she flourishes just a little bit and crosses her legs. Now her leg is right up against the side of your thigh. And she turns her attention to
There's
Artemis.
a hitch in his breath immediately. I don't think we've sat next to each other in a very long time.
Probably not.
Right in front of my patron saint?
Right in front
Xainan
of
has been
my
minding his own
mission
business
briefing?
too. He's looking at Artemis. He's just letting this happen.
Lumièra is so oblivious, she doesn't know what any of y'all are talking about. She's just...
Oh, Seir says obviously nothing, but his face is colored deep red, beet red. as he clears his throat and decides that there's a stray hair in his beard that he needs to like brush out.
Artemis just looks for a second, takes the three of you in as they are wont to do before nodding. Well, welcome back. Before we begin your briefing, I do want to give you all an update on the status of the hitchhiker from your mission 60934411. I was able to track the hitchhiker Kamani to a small realm, and I was able to return them to their home plane. Unfortunately, the artifact that they took from Han Wuyin's office was not with them. It will be some time before we're able to recover such a thing. They're rather obstinate, suggesting that they had lost it a few worlds back.
I had no doubt that you would track down the hitchhiker. Is that our next mission? To track down the item for Wuyin's office?
No, that will be a matter handled by the Hands of Fate personally.
Seir
Apologies.
glances over at Xainan, eyes wide, before looking, and at Lumièra and like glances back.
Xainan catches Seir's eye for a brief second before he looks to Artemis. I'm sorry we didn't resolve it here.
Well, you did your best. Although, next time, if you see a stranger stealing magical items from the office of a saint, please do wait until I arrive before you start destroying cafeterias, skewing the results of 3 ongoing lab experiments, setting back the community operations harvest by 6 hours, and obliterating half of the library. Please and thank you.
Yes, and
Yes.
Lumièra just nods, does not make eye contact at all, just like
well,
twiddling her
not
thumbs.
looking at Artemis.
Or just down at the floor, very solemnly twiddling her thumbs, like.
She's very much looking at all of you. A little bit firm, and then it softens. Still, you did well given the circumstances, and Wuyin has seen to it that you all gave back to the Syndicate in the ways that you needed to. Elsbeth and Artemis, I think, is kind of standing leaning in front of their desk a little bit. They turn around, grab something from off of their desk. Elsbeth has left a message of gratitude for you that says, and they are holding this little scroll that they pull out, and then out, and then out. And it says, "Thank you." And then they toss it to the side.
Such
Wonder
a
how much of
waste
that was-
parchment.
Xainan just leans next to him, and I wonder how much of that's reprimand.
All of it. Still, there is a second matter that needs your attention. This morning, I received my 16th missive from the Department of Recruitment. As the 3 of you well know, strike teams are 4 agents strong. No more, no less. An exception has been made for all of you, for obvious reasons, but with having a successful mission and several months under your belts, recruitment is now expecting a 4th person to join your strike team. I have taken the liberty of looking through your previous mission files, and there is one name that keeps popping up in your debriefs as an anomaly. The entity from mission 30862-115. Yinghe. The Shadow Mage you rescued seems to have taken quite a liking to your group, And even Sing's mission statement from Zhiguang makes note of the magician's fond temperament. I believe the choice is obvious.
No!
So, what you're saying is
The Seir just blurts out no before he had any follow-up.
Lumièra's
So there's a heavy silence that falls.
There is a heavy silence that falls. Artemis just looks at you. Then looks at Lumièra with a, like, hold that thought. And then over to Seir. No.
Xainan pulls his hat lower.
pinching the brow.
I understand the need for a fourth member, and I understand recruitment's priorities. But with Yinghe, as you know, the whole situation with them is unusual. It is unusual and completely against protocol. We have not begun the first few tenets of our recruitment process, allowing them the time to consider their chosen of their plane, Zhiguang. It's highly irregular.
Everything about this situation is highly irregular, Agent Seir. I've already passed this information along to recruitment, and the agents there agree with my assessment. Yinghe is driven, capable, works well with your team already, has some knowledge of the Syndicate, and they stare at you a little harder, and put themselves in danger to save the life of Xainan Ash. They have the makings of a fine agent.
If I may, and Xainan does not look at Seir. He only looks at Artemis. They were instrumental in why I am still here. And if you think that Yinghe is an asset to the Nova, that might keep us more whole, I'll abide that.
Artemis's eyes flick over to Lumièra.
Lumièra looks so confused. Just, you can tell by the look on her face and how she's keeps readjusting how she sits in her seat, that she has so many words to say but cannot articulate them. So she says the first thing that genuinely is sitting on her mind. You want us to replace Sing? Is that what this is?
No.
We did just fine on the last mission with the three of us.
I would not consider almost dying and being completely removed from the Syndicate just fine. You only did so fine because a fourth person was there. Because there were many other people there. Strike teams are made in force for a reason. I trust in all of you, in your capacities. It's not about that. Strike teams are in for. You could not replace Sing if you tried. And I don't mean to. What I mean to do is to give you a tool to grow. A partnership.
Okay. I will not question fate or the rules of the Syndicate. Fair. And Lumièra glances at Seir in her periphery, kind of taken back by his outburst, and she'll adjust herself, cross her legs the opposite way, away from Seir. instead now.
You know him too well. Seir's eyes are a wild helplessness. With each turn from Nova and further assessments from the great huntress herself, what is left for him to do here? And in this wild helplessness, he sits and he fidgets, and you see that tense tempest of emotions just swirling around him. If only he could dissect it.
Artemis can. They see the tension pulling through the room like taut red thread. They look at the three of you in turn. Consider this a trial run. If the shadow magician Yinghe does indeed show up again, allow them to work with you as an agent in training. Contact me so we may speak privately. Look out for him. Take dedicated assessment notes. Show her what it means to be a follower of Fate's will. Ultimately, recruitment just wants that seat filled. I will decide who fills it, as is my role, but I will not do so without your proper input. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and.
Yes, and there's an exhale of relief.
Good.
Maybe Yinghe won't show up. Things ended awkwardly at best. Maybe they won't show up.
Lumièra's eyebrows hurt.
He doesn't say anything. He just thinks this to himself.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying this out loud.
He
I
would
was
never
like,
say this in front
your
of fucking
monologue.
Artemis.
Let's go.
Meanwhile, Xainan is counting in his head the chair next to him, and the chair next to that, the empty chair in this room, a scroll of names that Arush gave him, all the people that have been in his care trance, and adding another name to that makes him freeze like a caught animal for a moment.
Well, with those two matters settled, it's time to talk. It's time to talk about the mission. Your mission. Unlike the previous two missions, this one should be rather rudimentary. It's a small plane, low magic, with a simple mission objective. And as Artemis speaks, this kind of falls into a more familiar pattern. The quick, clear, concise way that Artemis talks as they circle back around their desk and pick up three little hollow folders, I think, made from the fabrics that the prime oracles can weave in Mirage. They tap the one on their desk, bring them into existence. You should all be used to stakes on your mission being much higher by now, so this should come as a welcome reprieve. And they slide each of those hollow folders over to each of you. Welcome to mission 026669, Inferno. The RSA reveals a Class S Level 2 plane with a charted depth of 2.9% and a vibrancy of crimson. As I mentioned earlier, it is a small, low-magic, densely urban world. Inferno is the size of a small city, all of it. Smaller than most of the departments at the Syndicate, but it is very densely settled with many vertical urban residences. Your mission in particular comes in the form of a prayer from Rhododendron Thrakar that simply reads, "I need the Shrike." So all the three of you need to do is figure out who or what this Shrike is and deliver it to Rhododendron. Artemis pauses. There is one element to this mission that may prove challenging. But Lucy, I think it's best if you just explain it.
And folding out of the shadows behind Artemis's desk, here the whole time but invisible until the moment they wanted you to know they were there, is the patron saint of monsters, one of the three hands of fate, Lucy. She lets out a breath that she's been holding in anticipation this whole time and leans against the side of Artemis's desk with those bright eyes fixed on the three of you, their deep reddish purple skin glimmering under the lights of Artemis's room, their gold-capped horns up and raked back over slick black hair shaved on the sides, and that immaculately tailored three-piece suit looks like it's just come out of being perfectly sewn together. Hello, Nova.
And
Lucy.
And
Good to see the three of you in operating order. I'll cut right to the chase. This world you're going to, this city called Inferno, is full of vampires.
Huh.
A smile coils around their lips as they drink in your reactions.
That would be a challenge, blending in.
Well, it's a little bit more complex than that.
That's right. Complicated is a little bit of an understatement. You see, Inferno is mostly populated by living mortals, but there are a select few who die, and the death doesn't stick. They come back as undead that need to drink the blood of the living to sustain themselves. Vampires.
So, if I'm deducing this correctly, we will be one of those lucky individuals whose death didn't stick?
Correct. Rhododendron Thakar is a vampire.
Yes.
Huh.
You'll have to
I-
blend into vampiric society, which is all about blending into mortal society. You see, in Inferno, the existence of undead is a secret to the living. So during the day, vampires assume mortal identities with mundane jobs and ties to the world of the day, but at night, vampiric life, or rather unlife, comes alive. As far as we
Yeah.
can tell, go ahead.
Your mortal personas should be listed there in the briefing.
You open up your dossiers, and Seir, you see that your basically day identity is a construction worker. Lumièra, your day identity is an academic in your second year of grad school. And Xainan, your day identity is a bodyguard for hire, and in parentheses next to it, deceased.
Hey, what?
Hmm?
Problem?
It says that I'm dead already.
Well, that's what we're explaining.
Huh?
Okay.
And they were printed alongside the missive from the Prime Oracle.
Is there a problem, Agent Ash?
I guess I'm confused. If my entire cover is already dead, I guess I'll figure it out as we go.
The Oracle assigned you the persona of a dead man as the persona of your living?
Yeah.
How fun.
Lucy, be nice.
Well, he's going to have to improvise either way. At least you get a little bit of prep time now, don't you?
Yeah, a whole hour.
Maybe less if we're lucky.
Not the Prime Oracle.
Do the rest of you have any troubling identities you've been assigned, or can you make do?
No, a grad student makes sense.
A grad student? Coffee's going to be your new best friend, if it isn't already.
And apparently blood.
That's my thing. Does no one else notice how uncharacteristic it is for the person whose job is to heal is now to harm genuinely?
Lumièra, when you went to the Wild Sea, did you eat the food there?
Yes.
Same logic applies here. You're stepping into a world where some beings drink the blood of others.
We all hunt.
Seir nods with effective understanding. I think he nods even deeper, knowing that his cover story was granted by the Prime Oracle itself. It's will of fate written, made manifest to him on a piece of paper right in front of him. A task for him from fate. Does that make sense? I can do that. All this.
It will be an adjustment, though. That you are quite right about, Lumièra. And it may be an uncomfortable one, which is why I've asked Hand Lucy. And Artemis looks almost sternly across the desk, like Lucy is definitely playing with her food a little bit too much. Which is why I've asked Hand Lucy to assist me in this mission briefing. There is no one more equipped to tell the tale of monsters than she is.
Agent Lumièra, you do raise a fair concern, because when you arrive in Inferno, I am willing to bet that the first thing that will strike you is a new hunger that you've not had before, a craving for blood. You see, the thing that people misunderstand about monsters is that they think it's heroes here, mortals here, and monsters over there. But that's not the case at all. There are 3 hands of fate, and we have each our own domains. But there is a mortal, a hero, and a monster in each of us. I'm not going to step on your toes, Artemis, and pretend to know what it means to be a mortal, or to behave as a mortal might. But I can speak toward monsters. Some might think that being a monster is all about knowing how to control your impulses, leash your fangs, dominate your worst instincts. But that's a rather heroic way of looking at it, don't you think? No. Being a monster is about self-awareness. It's about balance. And yes, it's about choice. The 3 of you will crave blood, and with it, viciousness will rear its ugly, beautiful head. Her eyes fall upon you, Seir. A wolverine's first instinct, when cornered, is to bite and never let go. Tear away as much flesh as it can, rend as many hearts, kill, and destroy. Her eyes flick to Lumièra. A jaguar never loses sight of her prey. She will stalk it day and night and day, until its lungs give out and it collapses, and she pounces. And her eyes flick over to Xainan. A raptor will do anything to survive. It will peck out the eyes of those that also have exit guards. But a raptor cares not, but for its own flock and its own beating heart. And then soft focus on the 3 of you. Yes, there are monsters within each of us, So do not think that when you become vampires and enter Inferno, this is your first and only time dancing with the devil. Because this dance is a familiar one. It is a duet that you step into as soon as life is breathed into you. You only take the last step when oblivion welcomes you home. So learn to be self-aware. Shake hands with the monster inside of yourself.
And trust each other.
Oh,
Artemis
yes,
cuts
that too,
in.
I suppose. Yes, whatever, trust each other.
Rely on your instincts and your training and each other, as you always do. Like I said, this mission should be nothing out of the ordinary, beyond the forms that you will be taking when you arrive in Inferno. Questions?
Seir raises one. Hand. Both hands. I'm ready for whatever challenges the Inferno brings, especially with regards to the particular monstrosities that it presents to us. And Seir is calm. Throughout Lucy's whole explanation, this is, maybe for the first time in a Mayday mission, he's relaxed. That's all? Okay. But he leans forward and asks, I'm unfamiliar with protocol with regards to the consumption of what would be mortals within Inferno and other protocol that we have here at Trans.
Oh, it's easy. Just don't take too much.
Heard.
Artemis looks at Lucy, then back at Seir, having accepted Lucy's answer. As with any world, when you enter it, you become part of it. You become part of the ecosystem. That means that you may leave an impact, as anyone who lives there might. But you also have a responsibility to not sway this world off of its course.
Get in, find this shrike, deliver it to Rhododendron, and get out. And try not to paint the town red while you do.
Heard.
All right.
Xainan sees a whirlwind of dust, struggling through it, hearing Lucy's words about protecting the nest. He sees a box of food, not his, and he holds it in his hands. And through his teeth he echoes, trust in her will.
If there are no other questions, I believe it's time for all of you to get going.
Just one last thing.
Lucy?
You want to shake hands with the monsters in each of you and the monsters you will become, which is not a dirty word, it's not a bad word. Yes, you want to understand it and be aware of it. But don't let it become an excuse. Okay? That's all.
Sound advice. Thank you, Han. And
Thank you,
Xainan
Han.
stands up without any ceremony, walks towards where he knows they're headed, and removes his hat. Doesn't look behind him, doesn't hold that fondness like jumping into the wild sea, or that tentativeness of going to the city of heaven. He is inside of that dust storm as he walks towards the portal.
And as all of you get up on the dais, for the very first time, Artemis doesn't echo that phrase back to you. Trust in her will. Instead, the last thing that you hear before the light rises is trust each other.
Magic tenses around your bodies, as tightly wound as a fist as every sigil on that day is ding 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 lights up, and light ensconces your party. The smell of the deep wood of Artemis's office starts to vanish, replaced by... what is that? Exhaust? Metal? Concrete? The atoms that comprise your bodies start to wink out, one by one, reassembling themselves in this new plane, spirited away by the magic of the Syndicate itself. The sensation is not painful, it's never painful, but it is always strange and miraculous and terrible. And 4 months, 1 week, 2 days, 10 hours, and 2 minutes after the Chosen One dies, so does Strike Team Nova. And we're gonna end this in there. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Arc 3, Episodes 3 and 4 of the Chaos Protocol. I have been your Game Master or Game Master, Connie Chong, pronouns they, he, and she. Find me across the internet, but namely Blue Sky. We're moving to Blue Sky now at by Connie Chong or Transplanar RPG. I'm gonna pass along introductions over to Val.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Valiant Dorian. I use he and his pronouns. You can find me around the internet at Valiant Dorian or at also Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure and just say you want. Go check me out on Blue Sky as well. We're probably gonna move there probably soon. And tonight I have the distinct pleasure of playing your favorite monstrous little boy, Seir, who uses he, they pronouns. Gonna pass it on over to the birth anniversary boy, Xainan.
Oh, Wuyen. Hi everyone, I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. You can find me all over the internet as a style of Mladris. Boy, it's been a treat running around at Trans for a minute and having an anniversary for my gay, sad cowboy man. Thanks for hanging in there with all of the tech. Bounce it on over to Sam.
Hello, I am Sam Star. You can find me all across the interwebs, across them all underlined, at Lust for Life X, LUSTTFORLIFEEX. Yeah, I love seeing gay shit. This was phenomenal. I get the pleasure of passing our outros out to our wonderful Artemis at /dramaturg /producer / all-around bad bitch. See.
Stop, Sam. You're literally too nice to me. Hi, everyone. I'm here for outros now because I just wanted to be involved. Hi, everyone. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns, and you can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet. C Plays RPG. Like Sam said, I am the dramaturg and producer of this stream, and I'm so fucking sorry for all of the tech. It happens sometimes. And I said, you know what? I'm not strong enough today. I'm here to be gay and menace my friends.
You're always strong.
And that's strong enough for me. So thank you all so much for being here, for hanging out. You can find me at C Plays RPG across the internet, mostly on Blue Sky. We are moving over primarily to Blue Sky instead of Twitter. So if you want to see me make ominous posts on social media, follow us over there, or check out all the other different places that we're on. And Connie, if I may, just help do some outroductions, since the producer's here, I guess. Make sure you stick around.
The GM baton for me. Go
I'm
for it.
taking it for you. I'm wrenching it from the hands of God and swallowing it whole.
True C. Thomas core.
I think it's a fun little treat. We have teased very clearly the world that we're going to. Next week's episode is going to be very, very special, an hour-long mini-sode featuring interesting new face joining us next week. Who knows what'll happen once we head into Inferno. And just as a little treat, just to sprinkle it in there, we're not playing Vampire the Masquerade. And we're not playing Paint the Town Red either. So I would love to hear what you think we're playing, because it's an interesting pick, what we're doing here with the Vampire.
Cut. It's like unexpected.
It rocks.
It's an unexpected deep cut, really, but I'm very,
I was gonna say,
very
it does
excited.
not rock. It fucks. It fucks.
Yeah, it does. It
Absolutely
fucks really hard.
It
Like
fucks
Mira's been
extremely
doing
hard.
apparently. Yeah.
Oh
Connie.
God,
Out of
Connie.
not the slut shaming in the
Connie hours.
outros. Unbelievable.
But no, that was I was supporting it. Positive. Supportive of it.
Slut praising.
Slut praising, exactly.
Okay, we'll accept slut praising.
With that, I'll hand it over to Connie.
It's a me, Con. So if you've been enjoying the series so far, please get in the comments. YouTube, Spotify allows comments on every episode now, so just like drop something, like put it on for like 5 minutes and drop a positive comment on Spotify. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's really helpful. Just talk about us. So a review, post on social media, make a TikTok about us, a short form, like just blog about us or something. Tell your friends. That is the #1 most helpful way to share the word of Transplanar, and it really, really, really helps us continue to create the kinds of stories that we care about, and shows sponsors to be able to give us the money to make these things that they should definitely keep paying us. So please stick around for the raid. We're going to be raiding someone really awesome right now, no doubt. Use the raid message in chat. It's like Transplanar is plane shifting into your stream or something like that. Use that. Follow us on Blue Sky, Transplanar RPG, and each of us on Blue Sky as well. Join the Discord if you want. Let's get that Discord command in chat. And remember, trust in each other. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same place, with a special 1-hour mini-sode with a very special guest. Journey well, Transplanards.